So the previous video was on external flukes of parasites of freshwater fish. So today is the internal species. This is our overall list of all the species we will be looking at for these two videos. In here you can see the different monogenins, the different diagenins, and these are all of the internal parasites for freshwater fish that we will be covering. The first one is the intestinal parasite, Crepidostomum, and this is what it looks like. It's very characteristic of these four lobes on the anterior end, so its head end. You can also see it has a ventral sucker, so under its belly, and then there's the egg and uterus. For a long time, it was only able to be identified by the adult form until this rDNA sequence was discovered, and the cercariform and mecarium form were able to be identified in different species. And it was discovered that the juveniles actually live in the gallbladder, and once they grow up, when they turn to an adult, they move to the intestines where they lay eggs, and the eggs can be pooped out by the fish, and the cycle can begin again. So this is very interesting to me because a lot of one of the intermediate hosts is just like a copepod. So that is probably a copepod. So the prominent thing is that it's the mayfly. That is very interesting because usually it's just some sort of water copepod or crustacean or like a snail or something like that. And you can see that this is a salmonoid species, so it could be a salmon or a trout, probably a trout. And so that was that. So next is the blood flukes and the liver flukes. Sanguinicola, so sanguine, I believe that's blood. Latin or something, Greek, I don't know. And so here is a parasite. This is the mecarium form. So it's got little free living things, which is great. So you don't have to look into the fish's blood. You can just do a wet mount and see if this is present. So you can either treat with praziquantel, or since these guys come in like waves, one of their intermediate hosts is a snail. So if you control the snail population, it'll help to greatly reduce this. So maybe you don't have to reduce the sanguinicola, and you might not have to use so much treatment on them. This liver fluke, Postodiphtoplasmum, is also known as the white grub. The Metacarium form looks like this, but as an adult, it generally looks like these white grubs. And they're usually found in the liver, but they can be found in other parts of the tissue. And you can use the same treatment, praziquantel, and they're mainly found in sunfish and minnows. So tissue flukes. These can be found in the skin, so I didn't want to include them as external because they're also more often found in the tissues, like the muscle layer underneath of the skin. But this particular parasite here, Nanophytetus, is also another black spot parasite, which means it makes a little black speckling. It's more of a peppering than type black spot, but when it is found inside the tissue, it can be so bad it causes these cysts, and it can be so bad they can be so tightly packed together it can make your different organs look black. And it itself isn't very harmful, but it is also known as a salmon poisoning fluke because it carries a bacteria sometimes called Neoricista helmintha blah blah blah. And so that bacteria is actually rather dangerous. So the cyst won't, like if a human, more commonly like a dog or some animal like that, eats it, the cyst won't be the problem, but this bacteria is quite a big issue. And lastly, Cynostotomum, which is this yellow grub, is also found, so that's in the tissue. It can be seen, again, poking through the skin, but as you can see, that's more fleshiness. And it's yellow and a yellowish color, and it's very common in bluegill, largemouth bass, and catfish. So those are warm water species. And so that's it for a quick little overview on those. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you.